Welcome to ECB, everything college basketball, cooking it up with Tyler, Josh, and Peyton. Yeah. It's everything college basketball. We're marching on to the madness comes. Every full court press, every crazy dunk, every conference and how that teams match up. We're pulling your poles, taking your bows, letting the Burton Brothers know the players you're watching, the teachers you're not with, and who you see in the Final Four. With them shout outs, some weekly pick'ems, plus those crazy rants from Tyler, Josh, and Peyton. It's ECB, everything college basketball, training three. Man, this podcast has it all. It's ECB, everything college basketball, training three. Man, this podcast has it all. Yeah, now the moment you've all been waiting for. Your host from the corner three. It's Josh and Peyton Burton with Tyler Cool. Everything College Basketball Podcast.
We are live. Welcome to another edition of Everything College Basketball presents In the Zone Press, the YouTube show. Of course, I am Josh Burton.
My name is Peyton Burton.
And we are live and in living color again on this beautiful Wednesday evening. We are here. Our conference previews continue to roll on. As you heard this past Sunday on episode 38 of the podcast, we did the SEC preview. Tonight, it's all about the Big East.
Big East.
The Big East kind of been up and down. Not the Big East that we grew up with, but a Big East that is surprisingly good in depth this year, as we'll get into. Of course, this show wouldn't be possible without our good friends and sponsor from Applied Right Painting and Restoration. Check them out for everything that you need and for painting and all that sort. Contact JR Rowe for all that. Let them know too, ECB sent you. We get a little kickback, so it helps us, help them, help you.
Yep.
All that good stuff. Peyton, other than tonight being a huge night for professional wrestling fans, anything that you kind of want to talk about before we get started here?
Well, as you guys may know, today is October 2nd. It's officially Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I woke up this morning and had a bright idea. Like, I see everybody doing, like, breast cancer awareness shirts.
Normally the NFL does, like, the whole month. Like, WWE does the month.
Yeah. So. I thought, since this is a second season of ECB, I thought if I can come up with something, why not we do the same thing? So I was working on some stuff, and I finally got a shirt together that looks pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
It's not on my TeePublic site. It's on the bonfire.com/ECB podcast. That's where you'll get your shirt. It's a fundraiser. All the funds, all the money that we get, will be donated to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Yep. So it's for a good cause. If you guys don't want to buy our merch, at least buy this shirt. Because not only if it's cool, you get to both the best worlds. You get to rep ECB and you get to do it for a good cause. So bonfire.com/ECB podcast to get your ECB breast cancer awareness shirt.
Yeah, for sure. We've dropped the links today. They'll continue during the announcements in the Facebook group. If you're new or maybe haven't been a part of the Facebook group yet, as always, it's facebook.com/group/everything college basketball. Hit the join button. You'll be accepted instantly. So you'll find the links there. If not, we'll drop them in the description of this show. And it's limited edition. It's only for this month. I'm trying to just do a good thing. With that being said, Peyton, it's time to get into some Big East basketball, the beast of the East.
Let's do it.
How many on the surface the last couple years? Again, the Big East has had 2 of the last 4 national champions come from that. Villanova being it, obviously.
Yeah.
But the Big East, like we kind of mentioned with the SEC, I feel like it's slowly trying to make a comeback. It's not in the top Power 5s anymore, but I think it's solidly in 6 and trying to. It's going to be deeper than what people think, but how many teams will get in the tournament, the quality of it, we'll get into that here in a second. Like we've done with the other conference previews, let's go ahead and get to the superlatives, the awards, should we say, the preseason stuff.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and start right at the top. The preseason Big East Player of the Year was a the candidates were two of them, basically.
Yes, it was only
It
two
wasn't
guys.
a runaway like maybe some other conferences have been or will be. It wasn't like a 5-horse race. There was 2 players that you could choose from unanimously for preseason player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we went with one of our favorite players in America. He would be like, you call him the microwave because he gets heated up in an instant, right?
Yeah.
He just needs one shot to go through to be able to be on fire, NBA Jam style. And that person we're talking about is from Seton Hall Pirates.
This guy is Miles Powell. Last season, you guys know how much I raved about this kid, about how he was a microwave and how good he was. And this was extremely tough because, like we said, it was 2 guys. It was either Miles Powell or Marcus Howard.
Yep.
Both guys I talked a lot about last season. Both played against Louisville. But it was a very tough decision. The only reason I went with Miles Powell, the only reason we went with Miles Powell is because he has a better team around him than Marquette does. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, you can't go wrong with either decision. But we unanimously said Miles Powell is our player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Powell coming back as a senior, averaged 23.1 points per game last year on... Where's my notes here? almost 45% from the field, 36% from 3. You've seen what he did against the likes of Louisville, Kentucky. You've seen the game, but it wasn't him. The course, his body of work, his first 3 years at Seton Hall, he's a walking bucket. Decent defender, too. Got good size. So Miles Powell's our preseason Big East Player of the Year.
Speaking of him being a good defender, that is a very good point because I checked the stats. Are we doing notes here for the show? I was checking the stats, and I seen that he was second in steals from the Big East last year. He had 68 steals, I believe. He was right behind Shamari Pons.
That's a crazy number because, again, a guy who normally scores like that, you don't think of him as...
No, not at all. I
you
wouldn't
don't think
that.
of him as...
I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, a defender. So... Moving on, our preseason player of the year. Let's go ahead and go to freshman of the year, Peyton, preseason.
Our freshman of the year is Jemiah Robinson Earl. This dude was a 5-star coming out of IMG Academy. I watched this dude play in the Geico Nationals. IMG Academy ended up beating Montverde in like the Final Four, came back and won. He was a big key opponent for that comeback victory. And they played La Lumiere in the championship game. IMG ended up beating La Lumiere. La Lumiere is a very good team. You had Keon Brooks. You had Isaiah Stewart.
Yep.
Top 5-star players. One going to Kentucky, one going to Washington.
Yep.
You got very good players in your team, and he was the best player in IMG Academy. He carried them to the championship win. So, freshman of the year coming from Villanova is Jemiah Robinson Earl. I think he's a great player, good scorer. He'll do good things for Villanova this year.
Yeah, and he broke the hearts in the way of Indiana fans because Indiana was...
Everybody did that.
I wouldn't say Indiana was a favorite at any point, but they were definitely in that top 2 or 3 running for him. The people inside Indiana will tell you they thought they had a good shot at landing this kid. If you paired him with TJD and some of those players, Indiana, we're talking about them in a different light. Jemiah Robinson Earl,
Yeah.
good inside presence. Villanova is going to need a lot of that inside player because they got good backcourt play,
Yeah.
typical Villanova. But he's a guy who can spread you out, hit a nice jump shot. I don't know how far, especially with the three-point shot being moved back, I don't know how far his range goes on a consistent basis, but he's going to get buckets. I think he's freshman of the year as well. I will say, though, is freshman running mate, once he's cleared and healthy, we'll talk about him a little bit later, what's going on. But they also bring in 5-star Brian Antoine to Villanova. He's a tremendous player. I thought he could potentially be freshman of the year as well.
Yeah.
Due to some other circumstances, Jemiah Robinson Earl will be our preseason Big East freshman of the year. I think
Yes,
it's a
sir.
safe bet. Moving on, our Big East preseason defender of the year.
Theo John, I just blanked out. Theo John, he is from Marquette. He led the Big East in blocks last season. He had 70 total blocks. That is incredible. How much did he average per game?
You're talking about Theo John, 6'9", 240 pounds, junior from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Started 33 of the Hauser brothers, Hauser twins, from Joey and what was the other kid's name? Joey and Sam from Marquette. So he flanked those guys, another set of front court players.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a safe bet, too, as far as somebody who can defend. He's not going to be an on-ball defender, but a guy who protects the rim, gets you good, solid defensive rebounds, leads the outlets for their star point guard we mentioned, Marcus Howard.
Also,
I think it's important, too, to the best shot blockers. You look at Bill Russell, you look at Anthony Davis, whoever you want to name. The best shot blockers block the shot and keep the ball in play so it can lead to fast break runouts. I think that's important too. Not only does he block shots, but the majority of the time he keeps them in play, which is big time because you can outlet it out to Marcus Howard. And the guy, as soon as he crosses half court, can pull up on you.
I also thought about for a candidate, LJ Figueroa from St. John's, because as I said for Moscow, he was second in steals. He had 68. LJ Figueroa was third, actually, and he had 61. So he was right there behind Moscow. I almost picked him, but I decided to go with Theon John instead.
Yeah, another guy to keep an eye out, too, Seton Hall, is Quincy McKnight.
Yes.
He's the lesser known of that kind of Seton Hall team, but not only can he score, he can get after you defensively. By far their best defender as far as perimeter and everything goes. Good size, good length, moves his feet well. Deflections, gets a lot of deflections. So Quincy McKnight as well. But Theo John's our preseason Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Moving on, Big East Most Improved Player of the Year. Now, we differ on this. But these three, as I said, these three options are viable candidates. I'll start with mine first this time. As far as Most Improved, you guys know the deal. Somebody who we expect to take the next step from last year to this season. Obviously, it's self-explanatory, Most Improved. I've actually got a tie. I couldn't decipher who I thought was going to have the bigger leap from last season to this, so I went ahead and just gave them Most Improved as far as prediction-wise. We'll start with the Butler Bulldogs here. You go with Kamar Baldwin. Now, anybody who knows Butler is going to be like, Kamar Baldwin, he's their best player. He does this, that, and the other. But I think he's going to improve from his junior year until his senior year. And he's underrated. I mean, he really is underrated if you stop and think about it. Hold on, I got that mixed up, actually. I picked the wrong Butler team. Kamar Baldwin, sorry, not underrated. Kamar Baldwin's my most underrated. I'll get to that.
Okay.
My Butler player that I was thinking of for my most improved. Sorry, I got lost there. Jordan Tucker, actually, as a junior. There you go. Jordan Tucker is my most improved. He's a 6'7" junior. He started his career at Duke. He was a Duke commit, didn't last long, transferred last year into Butler. Got acclimated, got to play midway through the year. He wasn't really himself, but he showed spurts last year where he could really turn it on. I mean, he's 6'7". He's the highest ranked enrollee at Butler ever.
Yeah.
And he averaged 9.7 points per game, shot 37% from three, still even at that. And head coach Lavelle Jordan just said it was the first year for him playing any real minutes, so it takes time to get acclimated. I expect that, and that's in basically half a season, right? It showed he played 24 games of the possible 33 that Butler played in last year.
Yep.
Was able to start 22 minutes. I expect the minutes to go up to close to 30 this year. I expect the points to go up in the double figures, 13, 14, maybe even 15 points a game. I think he's going to put himself in position to be in one of those top three all Big East teams by the end of the season. Not only that, you go back and watch highlights. The kid, he's good lean at 6'7". He looks like a prototypical, I told you, he looks like a prototypical two-man in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Good shot. You go back and watch highlights when they played Villanova last year inside Butler and Hinkle Fieldhouse. He was getting shots off that, off of down screens. He was coming off curl screens. He was off the pull-up. He's got good form, straight up and down, elbow underneath him, can attack the rim, got bounce to him.
Yeah.
So I expect those numbers. Give him a full season. He's been in the program now. He knows what to expect. I expect Jordan Tucker to take that next leap. He's going to be my most underrated player. Now that I finally got around to it. Kamar Baldwin will be next. But
See, I thought about Jordan Tucker. I actually have him written down in my notes. But as I'm thinking right now, I'm actually going to change it. And this might surprise people. I'm going to say Matt McClung from Georgetown. He averaged 13.1 points per game.
take a shot.
And 2.6 rebounds per game. That's not much, everybody sees Mac McClung as a dunker, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Though you see them highlights.
You see the
them crazy
highlights.
ones.
You see like a Zion type, but smaller. I don't really see that in him. I think this year, his second year around, he's going to develop a well-rounded offensive game. I think he'll be a pretty good player for Georgetown. So I think he's going to be my most improved.
Yeah, and the ball's going to be in his hands.
Yes.
He's going to lead him at the point guard spot again. Normally you see a big jump from year 1 to year 2 anyways. Maturity level. We've talked about that last week with the SEC previews.
Yeah.
A guy going, Ashton Hagen's key point, right? Or Emmanuel Quickly from Kentucky, or name somebody. That big jump that you get maturity-wise, physicality-wise, body type-wise from your freshman year to sophomore year. So I could definitely see Mac McClung. Going into most underrated, went ahead. Obviously, this is my tie. I couldn't decipher between them. Butler, Kamar Baldwin. This is what I was talking about. Anybody who knows Butler, he'll be a senior. Kamar Baldwin feels like he's been there for 17 years, but he's a good player and he doesn't get the respect he deserves even still now. He could be all first team Big East this year.
Yes.
And still, at this point as a senior, not unless you're a diehard like us and really pay attention, he's not a household name.
No.
He's not like anybody else in the state. He's not like Trace Jackson Davis as a freshman coming in at Indiana. He's not like Carson Edwards was at Purdue. He's not a household name and he plays in the state, but he's a good player. You look at Kamar Baldwin, a lefty, keeps the ball in his hands, an athletic kid. His shooting percentage has got to go up, though, as a senior. But his ability as leadership, started all 33 games last year that he played in, 34 minutes. They rely heavily on him. 17 points a game, 4.9 rebounds from a 6'1 guard, and he's a senior. So, and again, he's 17 points a game, and you really don't hear his name that much unless you're really paying attention to the Big East or no Butler. I expect him to take an even bigger role this year. He's got a little backcourt help that we'll get into when we talk about Butler. Kamar Baldwin, but I also have a tie for this. Somebody just equally as underrated. You go to Creighton, the Blue Jays, Tyshawn Alexander, another kid that could really be first team All Big East by the end of the season.
Yes.
6'4 junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Started 34 games last year, played in 34. 32, basically 33 minutes a game, 15.7 points, 4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, shot 36.5% from 3. That's another outstanding kid that, again, people don't talk about him unless you're just diehard like we are or you're a Creighton Blue Jays fan. So between Kamar Baldwin and Tyshawn Alexander, one from Butler, one from Creighton, those two split my most underrated and really undervalued players in the Big East this year.
See, when I think about most underrated player in the Big East, there's only one name that comes in mind. This was pretty easy for me. And this is Sandro Mamukelashvili.
There you go. Sandro,
dang it, I almost
yeah,
got
but
it.
you
I
got
have
the
hardest part.
Mamukelashvili,
I
right?
had the hardest part.
Yeah.
He was on the all-pronunciation team last year.
Yep.
From Seton Hall, he's a center, 6'10". 6'10 forward. He's really a center. 230 pounds. He's a junior this year. I'm seeing him as the most underrated player because it's obvious. Miles Powell, he's a star of the show. He runs that offense. Everybody's looking, when they think of Seton Hall, they think of Miles Powell. They don't think of Sandro Mamukelashvili. Sandro Mamukelashvili had 8.9 points per game and 7.8 rebounds per game. That's pretty damn decent. I think he's going to improve those numbers. I think he will average a double-double this season because I don't care how good Miles Powell is. He's really good. He's going to need some help, and I think if Sandro can develop an offensive game, same thing with Mac McClung, then I think he's going to be even better than he was last year.
Yeah, well, he's decent in the post. He's strong as an ox, and he's got good vision. So, like, if you double him down weak side, he'll find that. Or so if you double him down strong side, he's going to be able to find that guy on the weak side spotting up. That's a good pick. And again, he's not the household name, right? Other than the fact his last name sticks out. But you will, by the end of the year this year, know who Sandro Mamukelashvili is if you don't already.
Yes, 100%.
Good picks. So we've got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get to the Big East first team. Again, we only do the first team. Instead of doing the second and third, we just keep it straight to the first team. Again, you can't have a player of the year, not have him on the first team. Miles Powell heads our Big East all first team preseason. We've mentioned him, Marcus Howard from Marquette. Again, on those two players are the two of the best players in the country, let alone the conference. But Peyton, third
Colin Gillespie from Villanova. Colin Gillespie last season averaged 10.9 points per game and 2.8 assists per game. That's definitely going to go up. He's going to be one of the star players for Jay White's Villanova squad. He's going to be pretty good. That's why we have him on the All-American team.
Yeah,
First team.
All first team, yeah. And then fourth on the list, another guy that you don't really know as far as the casuals, right? So Alpha Diallo from Providence. You're talking about a guy who's NBA talent good. Alpha last year as a junior started all 34 games, 35 and a half minutes, 16 points, 8.1 rebounds, 3.1 assists. Just a Mr. Do-It-All. No reason to slow him down this year unless just himself or, God forbid, an injury. So Alpha Diallo is our fourth member, and Peyton fifth and the final member, which it was a tough one between him and a teammate.
It really was. We went with Paul Scruggs from Xavier. Scruggs averaged 12.3 points per game and 4.9 rebounds per game. It was really tough to pick him or his other teammate, but we went with him because he is a good player. He's going to be one of Xavier's star players that's coming back this year. He's going to really help that offense shine. So Paul Scruggs.
And he made a big leap from his freshman and sophomore year.
Yes.
To, like, the improvement, he only averaged, I think, like 7, 8 points, 6 points, I guess, freshman year, and then jumps up to 12 points sophomore year. Expect more of the same junior year. We expect Paul Scruggs to be all conference. Now the superlatives out of the way. Let's go ahead and get right into it, what you're all here for. 1 through 10, like we do with all the other conferences, we will rank the Big East. Starting at the bottom, working our way up. Coming in 10th place, dead last, we predict this year in the Big East Conference. You go to New York City. You go to a historic program. You go to the St. John's Red Storm.
You want to see something cool? 3, 2, 1. Boom. Look at the screen.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. So obviously Peyton's put his new technological knowledge
hell yeah.
to you. So you see on screen here, it's got St. John's logo. You've got their record from last season where they went 21-13, 8-10 in the conference. And then our prediction, what they finished last year inside the Big East, which was obviously 7th.
Yep.
We have St. John's at 10th coming in last for a reason. New head coach, Chris Mullins out. Mike Anderson's coming in from Arkansas.
Yep.
You lose your leading scorer and one of the best players you've had in quite some time, Shamari Pons. That's 19.7 points per game you're losing. You're also losing forward Marvin Clark II, 10.5 points. You lose Justin Simmon, a guard, 10.4 points. So between those three players alone, you're losing about 40, 45 points per game. You do have coming back for their junior and senior years, respectively, LJ Figueroa, average 14.4 points a game, 32 minutes, started 32, played 34. And you bring back senior Mustafa Heron, played 31 games, started 30, roughly 32 minutes as well, 14.6 points per game. So those are two nice pieces, but there's not much after that. You do have some experienced guys as far as the way of grade goes, played some minutes, but not much, right? After those two players, the next highest minutes per game coming back, you go down to Greg Williams Jr., which is a 6'3 sophomore, played 28 games for the Red Storm last year, started 8.4 minutes a game. So you're losing a lot of production, a lot of talent, not only points, rebounds, experience. A lot's going to be on LJ Figueroa and Mustafa Heron's shoulders this year, both of them at guards. Not a lot in the way of big men. They did late get in Nick Rutherford from, he's played 98 games in the last 3 seasons between Monmouth and Florida Atlantic. You get Rasheem Dean, a transfer from Cleveland State. But again, not much of the way of help. They do have some grad transfers coming in, a couple freshmen. But Peyton, just looking on paper, St. John's, they're definitely in full-fledged rebuild mode.
Yeah, one of the flaws I see, their front court's going to be super tiny. I mean, I'm looking at the roster, they're like tiny, or the tallest player in the front court's like 6'9".
6'9", yeah.
6'9", 260. This isn't like a Villanova squad who can get away with this because they have guards. They have good guards who can help with that. They don't. I mean, Figueroa, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have experienced guards like Villanova does to help with that. So their front court's going to be super tiny.
Yeah, and made it worse. Even last year with the players that we talked about and they still finished dead last in the Big East in offensive rebound percentage, only getting in 19.9%.
Damn.
They're going to be smaller this year. That could be a bad. I mean, if they're not shooting an incredible percentage from the field, then it could be a long night because they're obviously not getting their own offensive boards.
No.
We have St. John's finishing 14-4. Or sorry,
4-14.
4-14. 4-14. I'll spit it out in conference this year. It's going to be full-fledged, like I said, rebuild mode for the Red Storm. But I think if Crystal Ball stays intact, they're the favorite to land in-city prospect, number 1 player in the junior class, Jonathan Kuminga. If they get him, the ball could start rolling. I do, though, Peyton, before talk about Kuminga real quick, I do expect Mustafa Heron and LJ Figueroa. They need to be big. I think that they're going to have incredible numbers by the end of the year. They could even both wind themselves on the All-Big East first team because of the numbers.
Yeah.
But it's going to have to be those two. I don't see them having any help.
No.
Mustafa Heron, if you remember, he transferred in from Auburn a few seasons back into St. John's. He's a big-time scorer at Auburn. He's still a big-time scorer, even flanking Shamari Pons last year. It's going to be a tough year if you're a Red Storm fan, though.
Yeah, if they get Jonathan Kuminga, though, they could be 14-4 next year.
Well, the year after.
Yeah, after.
Yeah.
They could be 14-4 if they get him. So the future's bright if the crystal ball stays intact, if they get Jonathan Kuminga, who is a beast. Holy hell, he's really good. Super athletic. He can score. He can defend. He's a great player. But, yeah, 4-14, there's nothing more to that.
Yeah, so moving on up. Number 9 in the Big East Countdown.
We got DePaul. DePaul last year, as I look on the screen, they finished 19-17 last year, 7-11 in the Big East Conference. They was tied for 8th, so tied for last place.
The most wins, too, 19 being the most wins that a DePaul Blue Demons team has had since 06-07. So they've been spent years in futility. And if any historians out there remember, back in the 70s, 80s, DePaul used to be a powerhouse at one point. Big Final Fours and stuff. Rod Strickland came from DePaul, the legendary Rod Strickland of NBA fame. But DePaul, though, we have them finishing 9th. I think the future is bright for DePaul. This is the first year it's their best recruiting class they're bringing in since 1998, according to ESPN. They bring in 2 ESPN Top 100 recruits, Romeo Weems from Chesterfield, Michigan, and Marquise Jacobs from Chicago, Illinois, right there in Chicago. You bring back 3 starters? 2 or 3 starters. You bring back some experienced guys. You are led by, points production-wise, Paul Reed, the 6'9" junior forward. Played 36 games, started 28 of them. They actually made it to the CBI championship, lost to South Florida in that. Because in the CBI they play series too, so they lost 2 games to 1. Good experience, and what's going to help them slightly and give them that bump we've talked about in the summer before, they were able to, back in August, go play a tour in France and Italy. They were able to get some cohesion and get those top 100 players, Romeo Weems and Marquise Jacobs, worked in. But with that being said, it's still going to be the slow rebuild, right? They just need more time. They've got 2 seniors on the roster, though. They bring in a bunch of new kids. They bring in, and what's going to help? I don't expect it. We haven't heard a word, at least I haven't we're recording. But you keep in mind, Charlie Moore from Kansas last season. Started at California, then last year transferred into Kansas. Now transferred to DePaul because he's from Chicago anyways. So he transferred back home. If he becomes eligible to play, I know he had a down year at Kansas. He had some bright spots. But if he's eligible to play with his experience and his ability to knock shots down, now we're talking about DePaul could be interesting, right?
Yeah. That's if he gets eligible to play. And if he does, I don't really see too much improvement to the DePaul team. I really don't. I mean, Charlie Moore, he's a decent player. He averaged like 2.9 points per game for Kansas last year. Didn't really do much. Yeah, he could hit some shots, but will he make that much of an impact? I really don't know.
You could see, I mean, a change of scenery. Maybe Kansas was too much for him. I don't know. we'll see. I'm just saying it would be big for DePaul should they get him eligible. I don't
Sure.
see it.
Sure.
I don't see it, but crazier things we're talking NCAA has happened before.
Oh, yeah.
DePaul, though, last year in conference, 7-11. I think we both think they slightly regress, even though they might have a slightly better team. Although they do lose 3 guys who had double-figure scoring.
They lost
Eli Kane, 13.1 points per game. Femi Ulajobi, 12.8 points. And then Peyton said their leading scorer, Max Struss, 12.1. So that's a big-time production that they're losing. So I think they take a step back. One game worse than what they were last year, but I do think that this team could be slightly better down the road.
Maybe. Yeah, we got them finishing 6-12 next year.
Yeah, 6-12. So moving on, team number 8 in the Big East this upcoming season. We go up to, let me find here where I've got it. We go up to Providence Friars. Now this is where things start to get interesting because if you look at some magazines and some sites, they have Providence as high as 5th.
Yeah.
We'll see. Providence brings back. God, they bring back a ton of guys who had experience. They bring back at some point from last season, in the 34 games that they played, they bring back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who started double-figure games.
Yeah.
So that's a ton of experience. That's why a lot of people are high. And we mentioned Alpha our first team conference player, Alpha Diallo, who averaged 16 points a game last year. You also look down to junior Nate Watson, averaged 11.7, 5.2 rebounds, shot 38% from 3. There's a lot to like about this Providence team.
Yeah, as I look through my notes here, way at Providence, they do have UMass transfer Wayne
Pipkins,
there we go.
He's one of the top 5 biggest transfers all year because of his experience at UMass. He played on some pretty bad UMass teams, but he ran the show. He started the majority of those games. He's a little smaller on the stature-wise, only 5'11", but he's fast. He's got experience, good decision-maker,
yes.
Can get after you defensively, and can hit open shots when he needs to. He's able to run the show and step right in for Providence, and that's big.
Yeah, and he had a 35.6 assist rate.
Yeah.
So,
he had 35 what?
35.6 assist rate.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, meaning basically 36% of the possessions he had was an assist or led to an assist.
One thing that's going to hurt them is the 3-point percentage. They need to shoot the ball better from 3. Because I'm looking here, it says shooting 3-point shooting percentage 32.6 from last year. That was 9th in the Big East, 266 in the nation.
Yep.
Not very good. You need to improve that, especially you got teams like Villanova and Marquette that can stroke from 3. You need to be able to hit that 3-point shot consistently.
Yeah, but the one thing that they did, they led the conference last year in offensive rebound percentage. 30.4% of their shots led to an offensive rebound, which was good for number 1 in the conference, meaning they were going after the glass. You bring back that experience. They do have some size. Across the board, 6'7", 6'5", 6'2", 6'7", 6'8", 6'8", 6'6", 6'10", 6'3", 6'9". So and then they bring in another 6'7" kid from Greg Gannett. They do have some size. You have a player that could be all conference type good. Diallo, who's a Mr. Do-It-All. You bring in an experienced grad transfer. I could see why people are high on Providence. I just think the way everything stacks up and their inability to shoot the 3, especially since they moved the 3-point line back, could be their ultimate downfall.
Yeah,
that's why we have them ranked 8th. Peyton, we have them going
9-9.
9-9 in conference this year.
Yep.
Which would be what they go last year. 7-11, which is actually an improvement. So we do think that they could be right there on that bubble-ish type team.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, it wouldn't surprise me if they finished 4th or 5th.
It wouldn't surprise me if they can hit the 3-point shot.
Yeah, and they don't have to hit a high percentage. They just got to hit good enough to keep teams honest.
If you can improve just a little bit, they'll at least be good enough to do damage.
If you can get 35%.
35%.
35%.
That's like, what, 3% higher?
Yeah.
32.6 from last year. If you can get to 35, that would be great for them.
Yeah, so moving on up. Now, this is where things get dicey. We mentioned Providence. I think Providence is outside bubble looking in. Now you start moving up to these teams. I think these teams are firmly on the bubble, could make the NCAA tournament, let alone be good in the Big East. The number 7 team that we have predicted in the Big East, you look at the Creighton Blue Jays. We mentioned Creighton led by Tyshawn Alexander. Creighton brings back 3 starters that were primary started every game they played in last year. And then you have 2 other guys who started 16 games of the games that they played. You bring back experience. You know what you're getting with Creighton. You know that they like to shoot the 3, that they're going to play tough and physical.
Yeah.
Where our screen?
It's still here.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, got sidetracked. I didn't know where our faces
You're
went.
good.
Okay. Yeah, you bring back 3 guys too. Double figure scoring. The aforementioned Tyshawn Alexander, 15.7. Junior guard Mitch
Welcome
Ballard, 11.1. And then returning sophomore Marcus Zagorowski, 10.4. He was, I think he won Big East Freshman of the Year last year, if I do remember right.
I think so.
Marcus
I can't
Zagorowski.
remember.
They bring in a couple guys. You look right here, a couple freshmen, but most importantly, you bring in Denzel Mahoney. Put up big numbers at Southeast Missouri State 2 years ago. 19.3 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game.
He hit 64 threes that year.
Yeah, for Southeast Missouri State. He's listed as a 6'5 guard forward combo, which is about right. But it's going to be another guy who can go to the rim, obviously shoot the basketball, spread you out, which is going to be teamed up perfectly with Tyshawn Alexander and what Greg McDermott, head coach, likes his system to run. There's 2 things you always know as long as he's head coach at Creighton. They're going to play you physical, and they're going to shoot the 3.
Oh, yes.
They're going to play physical, shoot the 3 well. Again, Creighton's another team. Will their front court step up? You know that they're going to be able to have guys who could spread you out, but will their front court step up? Off at the rebound percentage, they 22.8% of the time last year, only 9th in the Big East of 10 teams. You know, but they did lead in field goal percentage and effective field goal percentage, so they were shooting a high amount between 2s and 3s. Will the defense step up, and can they rebound the basketball?
That's the big question. Can they rebound the basketball? Can their defense stand up or the front court stand up and do some stuff? I don't know. That would be tough. We got them finishing 10-8 though. They finished 99 last year, so it's a small improvement. It's a 1-game improvement. But getting Mahoney is a big factor or a big key. Him averaging 19.3 points per game, hitting 64 threes in the 2017-2018 season is amazing. That is great, and it just shows how good of a three-point shooting team Creighton is, because last year they shot 38.7 from 3, which was 2nd in the Big East and 13th in the nation. So that's incredible. It's not like the last team we talked about in Providence. They actually hit the 3, and that's why they...
Yeah, they're like exact opposites, because Providence shoots the 3 well, but rebounded incredibly well. Creighton shoots the 3 well, but really didn't offensive rebound or defensive rebound the ball well. They're like the exact opposites.
And you can see as the Big East Conference, Creighton was tied for 3rd, and they was hitting 3s. So you need to hit 3s. I don't care how good you are, if you can at least hit some 3s, not a high percentage.
It alleviates a lot. It really does.
It helps.
I mean, you look at Auburn, made a Final Four last year off of it.
Villanova won 2 championships in the last 4 years because of it.
Yeah.
So
and they've got a big-time playmaker. You talk about, again, Tyshawn Alexander, who late shot clock can go make plays happen.
Yep.
You just got to be able to, if you miss, attack the boards. And on the other side of the ball, most importantly, stop the other team from scoring. Creighton went last year 9-9 in conference. We have them slightly better this year at 10-8. Again, this is a team people are higher on. They have them higher ranked than some of the other teams that we're going to mention.
Yeah.
But I think they're firmly on the bubble. And again, like we mentioned, Providence, the end of the year, if they're finished 3rd, not going to surprise me.
Not at all.
Not going to surprise me.
No.
Moving on up, number 6 team. This one's a real intriguing one to me. We go up to the Indianapolis. We go into Indianapolis, go to the Butler Bulldogs, Peyton. Butler last year, 16-7 overall, 7-11 inside the Big East. Really struggled to find consistency last year. We talked about Kamar Baldwin. He was a Mr. Do-It-All, an energy guy. But they really didn't get to the foul line at all.
No.
You talk about statistics. Butler, only 15.2% of Butler's points came via free throws, ranked them 322nd in the nation. Tells me they settle for a lot of jump shots, and you can't do that.
No.
You can't do that to win on a consistent basis. It works for some games, especially if you're hitting. You got to get to the free throw line. We talked about, though, Jordan Tucker. I think he takes a mega leap this year to pair up with Kamar Baldwin. A couple players coming in, though, that make things really interesting. He had to sit out last year due to the transfer rules, but he came from Milwaukee. You're looking at 6'7" junior Bryson. I don't know how to pronounce Enzi or Inz. It all depends. NZE. It all. I think it's Enzi, but we'll get clarification on that. Guy who is going to give them big minutes in the front court, which they desperately need after losing transfer Joey Brunk to Indiana.
Yeah.
You talk about literally big piece coming in. Grad transfer from Valparaiso, Derek Smith at 7'1". He played a lot of minutes for Valpo, some pretty good Valpo teams actually. Yes, that is Rick Smith's son, Derek Smith. Again, an experienced guy coming in to help anchor that post. He's not at 7'1". He's a large guy.
Yes.
He runs the floor decent. He's got good post moves inside. He's going to be a rim protector for him. He's a guy who can pass out of the post too. You talk about a guy like Jordan Tucker. You talk about a shooter like Sean McDermott, the 6'6" senior from Anderson. Shot 40%, almost 41% from three. He's a dead-eye shooter. And he's not, you go back and watch Butler last year, he's not just stationary. He can catch off of a dribble, he can pull up on you. He can catch off a curl screens, get a shot off quick. Sean McDermott's a guy, but Derek Smith can pass out of the post well. And importantly, here's two other guys coming in, two freshmen I think is going to make big impacts for him. You look, Peyton, at 6'5" freshman from Edson, New Jersey. Played at Trenton Catholic, which is a good Catholic prep school right there in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Khalif Battle. Yes, that's Tyus Battle's younger brother. Tyus Battle, good player, just finished his career up at Syracuse. Peyton, we were watching highlight videos of Khalif. He's got good size at 6'5". Could play guard, play small forward even. Not elite speed, but good speed.
Yeah.
Crazy bounce, though.
He's athletic, very.
We were watching him go against Cole Anthony of North Carolina, who we consider probably the best freshman in college basketball, and AAU, and he was getting after him. He held his own, more than held his own, and he got some range. He was pulling, a good 6 feet behind the three-point line with a defender on him.
Something like that, yeah.
He gets to the rim, explosive. I think he can help alleviate Kamar Baldwin as far as like backup point guard duties, really helping them out. You also talk about Aaron Thompson, who will actually be the point guard. So Butler's got some good backcourt going on. We mentioned Derek Smith in the front court. He gets another running mate. You bring in freshman 6'10" from Carmel, won back-to-back state titles with Carmel during his career in high school. John Michael Malloy, 6'10", 225 pounds as a freshman. Carmel here in the state of Indiana is always good in basketball at the highest level.
Yeah.
And he won back-to-back state titles with them a few years ago. He'll help anchor in that front court. Him and Smith and a couple guys like that. Then you got Jordan Tucker, Aaron Thompson, Sean McDermott, Kamar Baldwin, and then you Khalif Battle. Butler, I think Butler, they went last year?
They went 16-17 in the regular season.
And then 7-11 in conference.
Tied for 8th in the
We've got them 6, Peyton. We've got them, 3 games better? 10-8 this year?
10-8, definitely better. I want to talk about a couple things you just said. First, about Khalif Battle. The dude can score. He can get buckets. He's 6'5". He can get buckets. He has a weird form to him. His shot's kind of weird, the way he shoots it. I tell you what, he can stroke and he can hit. Matter of fact, he scored 30 plus games 8 times. 8 times in his high school career. That's pretty damn good. He can definitely get buckets. And one thing you talked about is the free throw attempts, how they're not getting to the free throw line. They finished second last year in the Big East in free throw percentage. They shot 73.8% from the free throw line. That's pretty good. But how many times are you getting to the free throw line, though?
Yeah, because they're settling for jump shots. When they're getting the line, they're converting. They're just not getting there.
They're just not getting there enough, yes.
Yeah, again, Butler finishing 6th in our preview. 10-8 in conference, what we have them down for. Again, a team right there firmly on the bubble, we believe. Moving up real quick, going to number 5. Go to Patrick Ewing in his second year at Georgetown. We mentioned Mac McClung, James Akinjo. I'm a big fan of him coming back. You talk about Akinjo as a freshman last year, played almost 32 minutes, 13.4 points per game, 5.2 assists. Mac McClung as a freshman last year, 26 minutes, 13.1 points a game, only averaged 2 assists. His assist rate's got to go up. His 3-point percentage has got to go up. But you bring in, they have some good core coming back. You have a guy, Jamarco Pickett, a junior. He started 23 of 31 possible games last year, 6.2 points. You bring in a couple 4-star kids this year, though. Quadas Wahab, 6'11", freshman. You bring in Timothy Ighoffey, 6'11", freshman. They bring in some big guys, though. And then you bring back probably the most important piece of all this isn't a freshman. It's a transfer from North Carolina State. Omer Yurtseven from Istanbul, Turkey, 7 foot, 275. But Omer Yurtseven, at his time in North Carolina State, was an animal. 10.5 points a game, like 5 rebounds. Going to anchor the inside. A lot of publications are saying he could instantly going to be one of the best big men inside the Big East. So, and it's going to help anchor. Georgetown's going to be big. They're going to be athletic. Anytime you have Matt McClung on the team, you're going to be athletic.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Georgetown last year, Georgetown averaged 73.2 offensive possessions per game last season, the fastest pace of any team in the Big East. Patrick Ewing has completely changed the Hoya style since taking over at his alma mater. This is courtesy of Athlon Sports, their magazine. They did, which one was it? They did lose Jesse Govan inside, averaged 17.5 points a game. But when you're bringing in all these pieces, it's kind of like we've talked about in the past with other teams, trying to replace one guy, but they're going to do it with like 3 or 4. They're going to be big. They're going to be athletic. They're going to play at a high, explosive, fun pace. I think the keys for Georgetown is getting in the free throw line. They were third in the Big East. 73.7% of them hit, but they need to get there a bunch. And shooting the 3.
Yes.
If they can handle those two, if they can get to the free throw line on an average of 20, 25 times per night, shoot the 3 at a high clip, Georgetown could be real good.
Yeah. Another question I have, because they can score the ball. Last year they put up 79.5 points per game, which was first in the Big East and 36 overall in the nation. That's pretty good. But on the defensive side of the ball, they was not good at all. They gave up 78.1 points per game, which was 10th in the Big East and 321st in the nation. So they need to improve on the defense side of the ball. They got guys coming in. James Akindo, he's good. He averaged 13.4 points per game. So they got pieces coming in. Mac McClung, he has to do more on the offense side of the ball besides being a dunker, which I think he will.
Yeah.
But otherwise, record-wise, we got them improving. We got them finishing 11-7.
Yeah, and I think this is where teams start. I think Georgetown's firmly in the tournament.
Yes,
start
I think
the year
they are
off.
too.
Moving up, number 4, actually 3 and 4. We have a tie.
Yes.
Record-wise, and we think they're kind of dead even. Rapid fire, real quick. I think you look at the 4th team. You go Xavier. Xavier's bringing back 4 starters. From last season. 4 starters from a team. They only average 72.2 points per game, but I think that definitely goes up this year. They bring back a lot of experience. They add in a couple freshmen they talk about. Kiki Tandy is 4-star kid from, or 3 or 4-star kid from the state of Kentucky, Hopkinsville. He's going to score right away. You talk about they bring in a grad transfer, Jason Carter, 6'8", 230 pounds, played at Ohio, big-time player. Then we talk about Paul Scruggs, and then the other teammate that could arguably be better and do more that we talked about could potentially be first team all Big East team. Najee Marshall, the 6'7" junior, started all 33 games last year, played 36 minutes, 14.7 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 3.4 assists. Didn't shoot the ball well. His one weakness, doesn't shoot the 3 very well, but he's made up for it with other attributes. I think Xavier could be really good. We have them in a tie for 4th. Peyton, who are they tied with?
They are tied.
Actually, it'd be a tie for 3rd?
Tied for 3rd, which they tied for 3rd last year. We got them tied with Marquette. We both have them finishing 13-5. Marquette has Marcus Howard comes back. One of the best scorers in the nation coming back. He's going to be really good. Xavier, 4 starters coming back. That's going to help. So we both have that. We both have them tied for 3rd. Both have them finishing 13-5.
So moving on up, there's only 2 teams left.
There's 2 teams left.
The number 2 team that we have finishing, this is going to be one of the better teams in the conference for sure. One of the better teams all year, hanging around the top 25 inside the nation. I think it's a team that could make the second weekend of the tournament, and that's none other than the Seton Hall Pirates.
Yes, sir.
Kevin Willard, it's time to stop doubting him. Remember, he flirted with potentially leaving to take the Virginia Tech job. But Miles Powell came back. It was a good decision to stay at Seton Hall. He's built something consistent there. And you've got guys like you've talked about, obviously Miles Powell, 23 points a game. You guys a walking bucket. We've talked about Quincy McKnight, one of the better defenders in the conference, a guy who can go get you points too. You talked about Sandra Mama-Kalashivi anchoring in the middle.
Yes,
you
sir.
talked about, a lot of people haven't, but you think about Miles Powell's running mate from last year's back. You look at Miles Cale, 10.2 points per game, shot 37, almost 38% from three. When Powell wouldn't have a good night, Cale was.
Yes.
This is a hell of a 1-2 combo. They didn't bring much in as far as the way of newcomers. They bring in freshman Tyrese Samuel, 6'8", from Orangeville Prep, he's originally from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And then you bring in transfer from Florida State, Ike Obiagu, 7'1", 255-pound sophomore. He's going to be a rebounder, shot blocker. Obviously, if he goes to Florida State, that's his attributes. Going to run the floor. They're going to be big. They're going to be athletic. They've got a superstar on their team, and he's got role players. Seton Hall's going to be good.
Seton Hall's going to be really
They're going to be
good.
the real deal.
They finished 9-9 in the Big East last year. They finished tied for third. They went to the conference championship, lost to Villanova, but it's fine. But Seton Hall, one of their problems, besides Mama Kalashivi coming back, they don't have much of a front court. They really don't. But Miles Powell coming back, that's huge. He's going to lead them in scoring again. He's going to lead the team, and we have them finishing 14-4.
14-4, and that leaves one team left in the conference. Obviously, it's the Villanova Wildcats. What more can you say about Villanova over the years that hasn't already been said? You look at Villanova, everything good?
I think so. It should. They can still hear us.
Okay.
Years.
You go to Villanova. You know, they had a down year last year by their standards. They're coming back this year. We talked about Colin Gillespie. They come back with sophomore Sadiq Bey, averaged 8.2 points a game last year, 37% from three. Jermaine Samuels is coming back. They bring in star freshman. You talk about Jermiro Robinson-Earl. You talk about five-star Brian Antoine, who's out because he's had reconstructive shoulder surgery. Should be back around December, but he'll be back by Big East Conference play in January for sure, more than likely.
Yes, sir.
Chris Arcidiacono,
Yep.
which is Archie Arcidiacono, wasn't it?
I think.
Ryan Arcidiacono. Ryan.
We'll get it right here soon.
A legend at Villanova, won them titles. Villanova's back to Villanova basketball. They're going to shoot a high percentage of threes. They're going to spread you out. They're going to, when you come out and close out too hard, they're going to attack you off the bounce. Look to them be solid defensively. Might take some bumps early, but I expect them conference play. I look for them to be full force. Villanova, we have winning the conference.
They got a top quality recruiting class coming in, headlined by, as Cook calls him, Batoni, Brian Antoine, and Jermiro Robinson Earl. So they got two guys coming in who's freshmen who's going to do some good things. And obviously the guys coming back like Colin Gillespie is going to help tremendously. Jay White, he's a hell of a coach. It just says that he won 2 championships in the last 4 years. It's incredible.
How about this for a stat? Villanova has compiled a 90-18 record in the Big East over the past 6 seasons with 5 conference titles. Last year being their only one that they didn't. Oh, no. Did they win?
They
do.
won.
So whenever it was, 2 years, 3 years ago that they didn't win one. So 90-18 in Big East. I'll keep on, especially with a good team, I'll keep on the Villanova train.
We got them so good, we got them finishing 16-2, only having 2 losses.
Yeah, and winning the conference by 2 games over Seton Hall, clearly.
They're going to be top team good all year round, so there's no question about it.
So there you have it. 1 through 10, we have at least 5 teams from the Big East with the potential of 7 getting in. So not bad. Big East is a little deeper than what you think. More importantly, Big East is going to have some just superstar superstar players.
Yes.
Throughout the conference. Even if the teams aren't going to be the greatest, they're going to have some superstar players. The Big East hopefully start next year. They reintroduce UConn back to the conference, starting to build that legacy back up in tradition. We'll get some of the old rivalries back. But there you have it. Stop me if you heard it before. The Villanova Wildcats back on top of the Big East.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will let you guys go. Hope you enjoy our Big East predictions. Take it to the bank, if you will.
Oh, don't do that.
Bank on it.
No,
I'm pretty
no.
good with the bank ones. Bank
I'm
on,
not.
bank on these predictions. And we will catch you Sunday, where we will predict, preview, and break down
The Big 12 Conference.
the Big 12 Conference. Hint, Kansas is going to be pretty damn good again. So until
Yes, sir.
episode 39, this Sunday, talking all things Big 12 basketball for 2019-2020, I'm Josh Burton,
Peyton Burton.
and we will catch y'all Sunday. Peace. Boom!